Avivitosh. Technology tends to cause a lot of issues between people, but mostly because of miscommunication. I personally am fortunate enough to say that I have not had to deal with a lot of that in my life. There is one time I do recall thinking that one of my important friendships was coming to an end because of it all. When Twitter first came out a couple years ago, everyone tended to tweet anything and everything that was on their mind, whether it was good, bad, happy, or sad. And this is what happened to cause me and my friend to get in a tiff. A couple weeks before I was leaving for the entire summer to go to work at a summer camp, she started hanging out with a couple people who weren't necessarily good people and that I couldn't get myself to like no matter how hard I tried. And whenever she would text me, I would just respond very shortly and abruptly or just not at all. So when I left for camp, I texted her, just said, "See you later." But as I'm at camp, I don't use my phone. It's often in my suitcase. One reason is so that I enjoy my time while I'm away. Two is so I work without distractions so the campers are having the time of their lives. There's one night a week that we do not have campers, and so that's the night that I use my phone. And it was a couple weeks before I was about to head back home for the end of the summer, and I was sitting there scrolling through Twitter like I usually do, and I saw a tweet from Lexi. And she said, "I'm glad I figured out who my true friends were." And right away I thought, wow, I've been replaced by those girls that no one likes. And instantly I texted her out of anger and started yelling at her saying, "It's your fault you started hanging out with these girls and ditching me. You're not the person I thought you were. I expected way more out of you," and so on. She tried to call me several times at night, but I turned my phone off because I didn't want to deal with it. And I turned it off for the last 2 weeks of camp. As I was on my way home, I turned my phone back on and realized I have about 1,000,000 text messages from her, and each one saying, "I'm sorry, the tweet wasn't about you, it was towards the other girls, saying that you are my best friend and not them, that she's sorry I misunderstood it, and she just wanted to make everything better, and that she was excited I was coming home from camp, and that I was finally going to be able to see her again," and so on. And ever since then, we've resolved things, and we're still good friends to this day, which is good. But throughout all this, I realized that misreading tweets happens, and misreading posts on Facebook happens. All of that stuff happens, and it's all through technology. When you're in person, you see their facial expressions, their body language, you can hear the tone of voice, you can make eye contact to show that the conversation is actually going. When you are texting and communicating through Twitter and Facebook and email, you can't see all those facial expressions and so on. And all those are really important in communicating, which communication is also a very large and important part of life. And without it, it's difficult to live. And communicating face-to-face is way more important. It's way easier, and it's just the way to go in having a conversation. And throughout that whole summer, I just realized all of that, and that technology basically just ruins relationships and friendships between people without even realizing it.